And this girl, they said, is there another room you could stay in? This girl said, yeah, there's a room you could stay with me. I think she said that. And Joe said, I'll walk you to your room. And there they are.
And she wanted him to come in. And he said it wasn't a good idea.
Yeah, she was trying to get him to come
Smart
back
Joe.
in the room with her. And that's the little bit of insight of the level of their relationship, because she looked right at him and said, well, I still love you, Joe.
But I'm glad he didn't say it back to her. He did not say it back.
Cindy was saying that to me the other day.
Yeah.
She goes, I'm so glad with that part of the show.
He just said, go get some rest.
Say it back?
Yeah, go get some rest.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you push her off.
Cindy's like, yay, Joe.
You'll feel better about this tomorrow. Maybe you should just go get a little rest now.
Yeah, just leave him alone.
Yeah, it was kind of funny.
That was.
Welcome to the Shaun Squad Society podcast with your hosts, myself, Cindy,
Doris,
Dame Madonna,
where we invite you to share in our enthusiasm and reminisce about all things Shaun Cassidy.
From his teen idol days to his recent adventures back on the road again.
Please join us for the stories and memories that connected us to those happy days that helped create the Shaun Squad Society podcast.
Tonight on the Hardy Boys, Campus Terror.
Well, hello there, Cindy and Dame. How are you?
Hey.
I'm pretty good, Doris.
We're all doing good. I think it's winter time, and where you are, Dame, it may not be as cold, but it's pretty cold in Chicagoland.
Sure is.
Cool here.
That's why I'm glad we got time together today. Did you guys notice or read online that Valerie Bertinelli was actually at one of Shaun's recent concerts?
Yes.
I saw her in pictures there.
She was in Southern California at Palm Springs, at the Palm Springs show.
Nice place to be this time of year.
Yeah.
Shaun took a picture with her.
That is so cool because didn't he say it had been like decades since they've actually seen it? Yeah.
It's been a long time.
So in case some of our listeners don't know it, Valerie Bertinelli actually had a guest starring role on the Hardy Boys.
Back then, they were having other TV personalities on other shows, and she got to star with the Hardy Boys. So, yeah. So the episode she was in was called Campus Terror. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite ones.
It was a little bit chilling. It was interesting, but it aired back in May 7th in 1978, and it was season 2, episode 22. They get a call from Joe's ex, Wendy, and there's a kidnapper on the loose on the college campus. And 3 girls have already been kidnapped. So they get a call, should I say a call from the kidnapper? There was a call from the kidnapper mentioning Frank and Joe. So they head over there to the college to help her.
Right.
To figure it out.
Right. So Wendy, played by Valerie Bertinelli, called Joe and Frank to come over because something was going on the campus.
Yes.
These girls were being kidnapped. So what did you guys think of this episode? Someone's taking the girls and they get Joe and Frank on the scene to help figure it out, basically.
Girls, you know I don't like to watch the dark stuff, but I went back and reviewed it some, especially when I knew that it would be dark, but it would bring a lot back to light. So when I watch stuff on TV or in a movie, I like to watch it for comfort and warmth. But this took myself somewhere else, and I went to watch the Hardy Boys, and we know it also took them out of their comfort zone. I hated the creepy music, and I know that music is meant to mess with our mood, especially back then. It seemed like it probably was a little scarier. It's so true, though, how music can affect our thoughts. It reminded me a bit of like an old Scooby-Doo show. back then I didn't have a TV as a child, but I remember after school, I would stay over at somebody's trailer and watch Scooby-Doo at another person's house. And it didn't scare me, but I guess this show did scare some people or some younger kids.
Yeah, I could see it probably being scary for the younger audience. By the time it was on, it was season 2, season finale. I was already a teenager,
Yes.
so I wasn't frightened by it. The music, to me, was just the music to set the scene. It didn't affect me personally. It was like, oh,
They
this is
filmed
a
it at
scary
night.
scene. Yeah, they filmed it at night. So, yeah, I can see that episode actually being one of the scarier ones. And in
But
fact,
it worked. It worked
yeah.
for Shaun. Teens started liking him even more. They saw that other side of him.
Yeah, well, I want to first say that Shaun Cassidy welcomed the serious tone
Oh,
of
okay.
this episode because he was trying to avoid being seen only as a teen pop idol. So he wanted to get better roles he can sink his teeth into, and this was good for him.
Yeah, it was.
You know, Cindy, in this, editors reassured the younger readers that Shaun himself was fine in the background and he was laughing during all of this because they
Right.
got worried about Shaun too. So they had to say that.
Yeah, well, Shaun thought it gave him a more emotional range, with this role.
But, the teenagers liked that take charge version of Joe.
Yes, and it was...
They love that.
He wasn't smiling as much. He was just more serious.
Yeah. It said that even Parker intentionally played Frank as a calmer, more rational.
Yes. He balanced it
Yeah.
out.
We were doing some research, and it says it was intentionally written darker than most of the Hardy Boys episodes.
Right.
So they wanted that episode to be more on the dark side.
Yes.
And it worked for them.
Watching it today, I'm like, oh boy, if that was dark. I mean,
Yeah,
in
it wasn't scary now.
Yeah, it was like, oh boy, that was kind of lame. Especially when all they were dealing with before was people pretending to be ghosts in amusement parks or haunted houses, and you got something that's for real, a real live campus kidnapper. At least they thought they had. So,
And I believe they were filming on a real campus.
yes.
They were on location.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then some of the exterior scenes, they're like we were saying, were shot at night, and it saved the production time, but it also reduced the extra noise that gave that heightened tension feel.
Yeah, I mean,
the
at
night
night it's a
feel.
little bit scarier, It's just that eeriness.
Well, that's what they wanted, and
Yeah.
so that's why they did it that way. There were letters like from the parents that were saying the episode was too scary for the younger
Yes,
kids.
that too.
But ironically, older teens kept praising it, which confirmed producers had successfully reached that teen
Yes.
demographic, that they wanted.
They were getting the older teens.
Yeah.
But it made the network a little nervous.
Yeah. But Cindy, other than the actual feel of the show, what did you think of the content of the episode?
I liked the
funny.
content of the episode, and because I already knew who Valerie Bertinelli was, I was familiar. I was more interested in seeing where this was going to go.
Yeah, she was so cute.
Let's talk a little bit about the episode. So to me, it was a good show. They had a campus terrorists, as they want to call it. And we don't know who's doing it, who's kidnapping these girls. But
Right.
they set it up where it could be one of 3, maybe 4 people.
Yes. Those
They
suspects.
try to make each one scary.
Now,
The first time that
yes.
that guy that was teaching them stuff in the gymnasium, he goes,
coach?
well, you should take this defense class too.
That's how it starts, I believe, right? They go into the gym. There's a defensive
he's
coach
He's
type
teaching
person.
self-defense.
Self-defense. Hmm.
They make you think that this is the bad guy at first.
Yeah, so he's teaching self-defense, and Joe and Frank are there, and Wendy sees that they show up to help her. So
Yeah. And he's like, you guys should be taking this
Right.
test too.
yeah, the guy's not very pleasant, and he gives him a look like,
And they purposely hone in on him taking off that one class ring.
yes.
Because they want
Yeah.
us to start noticing there are multiple people who will be set up to be the suspect.
Yes.
So there's him.
There's him.
That guy. And he's not nice. So how dare you interrupt my class? And so
Very
there's
standoffish, territorial.
standoffish,
Yeah.
yes.
They made him look like that.
Then they move on to the IT lab.
There were so many wrong things about two unknown guys asking for a printout of the students from one large big computer that he ran. And then I found that it was funny how Frank states that it's incredible that 1,000 names could be printed out in just 2 minutes. No idea. They didn't even have ID to show him. He didn't ask for it. He just started printing off all the names. Nowadays, as a teacher, I know you don't give that information out like that to two strangers.
No, yeah, totally different system. And this is when IBM was popular. And
At that time, IT was one man with a big, oversized, clunky computer. And then everything James said is exactly true. But look at his character, the guy, that the IT guy. How they made him. He
very
was
creepy.
Yeah, they started thinking it was him.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, one after the other shows up that you suspect.
right.
But they knew his dad. They knew his dad somehow.
Yeah, somehow
Yeah, that guy was connected to Fenton. So they said, so that gets in their head. Because remember, the person doing the kidnapping said, not even Frank and Joe can catch me or solve this or something. So they're thinking it's got to be someone who knows us.
Mm-hmm.
So here's Mr. Professor guy. He's got a connection to their dad. So they're like, okay, maybe it's him. And they, it was kind of funny because he shows how the machine, you can make it say things.
Right.
What was there was one computer bigger called the Rock. What was that could do things?
That was the computer. He named
okay,
it
that's the Rock. Okay.
Yes. And it was this big massive mainframe computer that could do things.
Could mess with your voice.
You could change his voice. You could program it to do almost
so
anything.
They started thinking, it's him.
This guy has all the technical ability. Maybe he's doing it. Then they go walking across the street. Maybe they were walking across the street to the computer lab when the bikers came up.
Oh, that's another one that was suspicious.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all of a sudden they knew her, Wendy.
Yeah. Hey, Foxy lady. Hey, Foxy girl.
They're like, how do you know those guys?
And she's like, I don't know them.
Mm-hmm.
So now maybe the hardened biker dudes are the ones who's coming on campus taking the girls. And she might be next because they've already pointed out that they made sure to call her out.
Right.
Yes. So they're thinking, okay, they're on the show now. It might be them.
Yeah, this episode really pushed the reveal till later. They really wanted to string it along.
Yes.
So they kept making people show up that were suspects.
Now, in between all of them making all of these people look suspicious, someone else gets kidnapped. So now they got us thinking, who's doing it? Is it the professor? Is it the guy teaching martial arts or self-defense? Or is it the biker guy?
The biker dudes.
So this one girl gets kidnapped, and down there like, okay, there's another person. And this whole time, there's no cop presence on the campus.
Exactly.
I know there are so many weird things that would never be allowed
No campus
nowadays.
security.
No campus security at all.
Nobody's given ID.
Just Joe and Frank.
So Joe and Frank decide maybe, they go to the biker bar and they see the two guys and they seem innocent enough and they're talking to them. The one guy is telling,
they're like, are you the cops?
Yeah. And the one guy's like, I don't talk to cops. We're not the cops. And his partner just wants him to take a shot. It's like that pool shot was more important than talking to Frank and Joe. Just take your shot.
But Doris, there's a part that I wanted to mention. What was it that when they heard the pinball machine? And so that's what made them know to go to the bar.
they did manage to go to the police station once or twice, and is that where they were listening back to the
I think
tape?
the kidnapper called. There's a pinball machine in the background.
Yeah, and that's what
Oh.
made them know, okay, it's one of these places. So it's like
Yeah.
a mystery when we try to figure it
Yeah,
So
out.
we go to the
Yes.
bar. We're like, oh, maybe it's from the bar.
They went to some guy who has the vendor of that pinball machine, and he had all the places pinned on the map
Yes.
that would have that pinball machine.
That was the clue. That was a clue.
That was the clue.
And that's how we start thinking maybe it was the biker people. There
you go again, another wrench.
Yeah, another. So they go in. You're right, James. So they go over to the bar, and they're talking, but that one guy he wants to fight. All because the guy won't take his shot.
They were more interested in that. So just go to the amusement park. Leave us alone.
Yeah, and there they are. And so I think what the writers were trying to do is give us the idea that this was like a rough and tough bar. You don't just come in here and have a couple of drinks. We also fight in this bar, even if it's because you won't take your pool shot. We're going to go off and rumble. I was
Yeah, they're
like,
not
what
too worried
just
about-
happened there?
Frank and Joe.
Yeah, Joe's looking at me like, we better get out of here because, they're not
Yeah.
fighters. So
Yeah.
let's get out of here.
So they mosey and giddy up on out of there. And then they get back and then they have some scenes with Joe and Wendy. So who wants to talk a little bit about Joe and Wendy? This is where they kind of give us a little insight on their past.
And Joe was so nice to Wendy.
He always gets the girl.
So
Yeah.
the fact is, we all know that they were previous boyfriend girlfriend, and I think what happened, they had a scene where Wendy's on the floor crying and going like really screaming and crying, and they wanted us to think she was being attempted to be kidnapped.
Attacked.
Yes. She's screaming and crying and everything, and the caller calls in and says, I have Wendy. Now, that bothers me because the caller would know he doesn't have Wendy, but there's Wendy sitting on the floor. I'm like, why would they even let that part in the episode?
It
I
doesn't make
have
sense.
Wendy when Wendy's sitting over there talking to Joe on the floor.
Yeah,
But-
there were different things that were kind of
But
weird.
they got her calmed down, and this girl, they said, is there another room you could stay in? This girl said, yeah, there's a room you could stay with me. I think she said that, and Joe said, I'll walk you to your room. And there they are.
And she wanted him to come in, and he said it wasn't a good idea.
Yeah, she was trying to get him to come
Smart
back
Joe.
in the room with her. And that's the little bit of insight of the level of their relationship,
Right.
because she looked right at him and said, well, I still love you, Joe.
But I'm glad he didn't say it back to her. He did not say it back.
Cindy was saying that to me the other day.
Yeah.
She goes, I'm so glad with that part of the show.
He just said,
that
go
did
get
not
some
say
rest.
it back.
Yeah, go get some rest.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you push her off.
Cindy's like, yay, Joe.
You'll feel better about this tomorrow. Maybe you should just go get a little rest now.
Yeah. Just leave him alone.
Yeah, it was
So
kind of funny.
that was. So
Yeah.
then, now they're thinking, okay, somebody just tried to take Wendy. Then they got all these other people. Now they're walking around really wondering who this could be.
Yeah, because you know what this episode kind of focuses on? It emphasizes fear over the clues.
Yes.
It's showing more fear, like things are happening.
It was trying
multiple
to
things
do
are
that.
happening at the same time, and I think Joe and Frank just couldn't get a handle on it.
Yes.
So they wanted to show that fear in this one. It was different than the other mysteries they've done.
And then that's enter now that last victim or whomever, when her poor ex-boyfriend who had been in a car accident, it looked like he had a really bad burn, and he goes, he just wants to talk to her, and she gets one look at him and she screams bloody murder.
In the
poor
dark.
thing.
In the dark
Well,
on the
it's trying
campus.
to make you think he was a bad guy, too, because he
Right.
comes out looking scary.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
He's in the dark, lurching like in the bushes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So you're like, what is this weirdo
You're like,
doing?
"Ah!"
Yes.
so you would do that too. You would scream just as
Oh.
much as
Yeah,
Alice.
but
Her
then
name
there's
was Alice.
there's another one on the list. I'm like, I couldn't keep track of them.
Now we have another
Like,
Yeah.
I'm
suspect.
like, what's going on? What's
Yes.
going on with this episode?
And you sure wouldn't think it was a woman taking all these people, you
Right.
know?
Exactly.
How strong can you be?
You would not think that.
Especially a little bitty one. A little
yeah,
one.
maybe the bikers, but not,
But because I think
not
back
a
then,
sweet young girl.
right, back then, campuses did have things like this going on. There were
Yes.
actual stories of this happening in campuses. So to put Valerie in there to throw it off was good. Good writing on their part.
And it was so different than what she played in her other roles in
Yes.
her other shows.
Yeah.
So you didn't think it was her. You did not think this is where it was leading to.
That's so we're getting to
Right.
the reveal now.
Yep.
So the guy with the scar, he's immediately, I guess, his alibi or his story held up. He's like, look, I was in the bad car accident. I just wanted to talk to her. I was a little afraid, so
Then I felt bad for him.
Yeah. So he's now out. He's no longer, but now we still have, and I think they went back and talked to Mr. Self-defense guy, and he somehow got himself out of it too. Somehow I forget.
Yeah, they start knocking him off like,
Yeah.
oh, they're not a suspect. They're not a
Yes.
suspect. Yeah.
All right. Is it Mr. Professor?
Now it's down to IT guy, or just him, Mr. Professor.
Or the coach.
Well, that's what I said. I thought they went back to him, and he was eliminated as a suspect.
Okay, yeah.
Didn't they take him his ring back?
Well, they said, where's this ring? Or they found the ring somewhere.
Right, they found it by Wendy's door because I think she set it up there.
Yeah, because she was in the gym with
Yes.
him at the time he took the ring off, and he put it on the mat.
But I can't remember how he got himself out of it. They took it back, confronted him with the ring. But can you girls remember what his story was when they kind of didn't suspect him anymore? I just can't remember. It wasn't deep enough, I guess.
See, what made it hard for us is we already knew the ending.
Right. But something happened that they focused more on the professor, the IT professor.
Well, they said he was really creepy, and there were other students that said they thought he was strange too.
Oh, yeah, that's it. I think they just said, maybe we should go over here. And then they started realizing that computer voice sounds a lot like the voice on the phone.
Yeah, I'm still wondering how she did that.
Well, it's that computer said it could do that.
Yeah, she had the remote to program it to say
Yeah,
whatever.
she knew how to help.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You know, backing up just a little bit. Remember when they didn't show her, but all the other girls were in that room all locked up and tied up, and they showed that creepy clown laughing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my, I was like, okay, that was for it stay a little bit creepy. This big old clown came out and
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a real amusement park. That was shot at Pike Amusement Park in Long Beach, California.
Oh, okay.
It's been demolished since then, but it was popular back in the day in the 70s.
Right.
That's interesting, Cindy.
Yeah. So they were on location for that too.
Frank and Joe decided to go snoop around the professor. Why he had Rottweilers, I do not know.
Yeah.
They never said why he
Yeah.
had caged Rottweilers.
At his work.
At his job.
Yeah.
And his job
That
wasn't
was
something
strange.
that needed all this protection. But if it did need protection, your dog shouldn't be caged. They should be
Yeah.
out protected.
Yeah, I didn't understand that part either.
No, they just wanted to add a little more fear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was all for more fear. So as Joe and Frank are about to go in and snoop around and say, let's just try to figure out a little more about what's going on in this lab, there's Wendy, that we don't know is Wendy, behind them, unlocking the cages, right, of the Rottweilers. So then, okay, now Joe and Frank are trying to escape the vicious dogs, even though I noticed one of the dogs wasn't so vicious. He was like looking at them like, yeah.
Well, it's a good thing they weren't vicious.
Where's
They're
my
just
treat?
on the set. They're
Yeah.
supposed to be pets.
And then the
Right.
professor comes in, and that's when he decides to explain a lot of things to them about the computer and then they realized the matches were the same matches from the bar that they found in
Yeah, that was
Wendy's
a clue.
room.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started somehow putting this all together. Oh yeah, they were at the bar and the guy said, go. Somehow the man told them there's an amusement park out back. And they went out back. Here we are in the amusement park now. What did you notice funny about that amusement park ride, Cindy? You were telling me just yesterday.
Oh, yeah, because when it went on the Ferris wheel, that started on its own. There was no operator to turn it on.
So yeah, they flip a switch that turns on all of these lights and
parkers.
lights.
Yes.
There's no master flip of a
To go,
switch.
yeah, for everything.
And then they walk over, and Wendy, right? Cindy,
they get
Wendy
in.
stops the
She's
ride.
got a gun at him, and she says, get in for
How
the
did she
Ferris
have
wheel.
access to all this?
I don't know. Another good question.
And then they go around.
Then she closes it, and it just starts going.
Right. Who started it?
Who started it?
And
Yeah.
that's kind of one of those funny things, like, who started the
It magically
Ferris wheel?
starts, yeah, without anybody there to turn it on. It's just magic
Oh, well,
back
it's Hollywood. It's Hollywood.
And here we are, Jane. She's on the ride with him, and you can tell
Yes.
how you like, what you like.
Well, I love that part where he holds her face and he's like, no, you aren't Gwen. You can do better than that, and he tried to tell her, no, you can handle this college. You can be a good person. And that's when she started telling him just, no, I can't do this. I can't. And he was so gentle with her.
What was the whole thing? She didn't like the sweet, innocent personality
Of Wendy.
Of Wendy.
But that's why she did what she did. And that's why she chose who she chose to take away and kidnap. Because they were so much like Wendy and she wanted to be Gwen.
Yeah. So interesting you bring it up now, Dave. They said in the episode, Frank made a point of saying she suffered from schizophrenia with some kind of multiple.
Yeah, he does mention it in the episode.
And it turns out that, back then the writers didn't do a lot of research. It wasn't a medical drama, so they didn't care.
Right.
But the illness that she was suffering from was not schizophrenia.
Right.
Because schizophrenia does not create multiple personalities.
Right.
She was suffering from what's called
Split personality.
Back then it
Or
was
alternate
called.
Dissociative identity disorder.
Thank you, Cindy.
Well, once it gets like what you're talking about, Doris, they say even in this show that once the truth is uncovered, the tone shifts from fear in this show to sympathy for her.
Right.
Yeah.
But I was just trying to make a point that at the time this show was filmed, they were kind of lumping all kinds of personality disorders into schizophrenia. And schizophrenia is not a personality disorder. It is a true psychotic disorder that requires psychiatric treatment. Not that some of these personality disorders don't, but I just want to bring that up.
But it was misunderstood. It was misrepresented.
Yes.
Mental health conversations were very limited back then.
That's the point I'm making, that there was no true awareness. We've even touched on it on many of our discussions about Jack Cassidy and David Cassidy.
Right.
How that was kind of pushed aside. You didn't talk about it.
Right.
The person suffering almost didn't want to admit that they had the illness, and they didn't talk about it.
Well, in the 1970s, schizophrenia was commonly thought of that split mind confusion about reality, hearing voices, acting like a different person. They did think that was schizophrenia, but today it's understood as hallucinations, disorganized thinking, and not, like you just said, multiple personalities.
Correct.
So the writers were thinking it was schizophrenia. They weren't thinking it was bipolar at the time.
or
No,
any
but now
other
it's different.
disorder.
Mm-mm.
And they, especially for that not really being the focus of the episode, they were like, call it that and
Yeah.
move on. They didn't expect 50 years later someone would be talking about
Right, but it was in the 70s, so wasn't that movie Sybil out at that time?
Yes.
Sybil was out, and she had multiple personalities, like a lot of personalities.
Yes.
Sybil was a really popular movie.
A part of this talks about drugs. They go, well, what is this happening because somebody's on drugs? It did say that in the show.
Yeah, they brought that in. So I'm glad that we had this little chat about the difference now, how we now, so many decades later, can understand how mental illness wasn't really addressed at the time, and it was misdiagnosed as something was one thing, but they just kept calling everything schizophrenia. And now there's so much more.
You
Right.
start thinking everybody has schizophrenia that drinks too much alcohol because they have two different personalities, and you're confused. Is it the alcohol or is it crazy?
Right, but now it's categorized better in different
Correct.
classes of mental illness.
But anyway, there was a part of this show that I thought was just beautiful. The way Joe treats Wendy and tells her Wendy is strong enough and Gwen is not needed.
Right.
And so the way that he holds her face and gently takes that gun away from her reminded me, it reminded me of Jesus and how he is with us. After we go back from being on the wrong side, he still shows us the love.
Well, he was being strong for her to kind of
Yes.
tell her she could figure this out. But what happens after he leaves?
Well, hold on one second. Because in these types of situations, people with multiple personalities, there's always the strongest one. And Joe
Yes.
believed in his heart that Wendy was stronger than Gwen. Is that her
Yes.
name? So
Yes.
he wanted her to know that you can overcome this Gwen. You can take her. She's not that good. You got her.
He was right there. He was showing true love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He really was. And I was just like, oh, I love that side of Shaun. And all the teenagers that were dealing with depression or confused about why they felt like they felt. And all of a sudden they see this human that's so beautiful that he could say,
Yeah.
you can be okay.
Yeah.
And he's so gentle. It showed his stern yet gentle side. And that's my favorite part of Shaun, was brought out in this show for the very first time, is who Shaun really can be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, after they leave, they show Gwen by the window of the hospital smoking a cigarette, looking at him leave,
Well,
like,
before-
Gwen is still here.
Before that, we got to make sure we mention that they had a very important talk with Wendy in bed at
Right.
the hospital.
Yeah.
Talking
That's
about.
when he was encouraging her.
Well, he was encouraging her also on the Ferris wheel. I thought that's what we were talking about. So, yeah, so you're right, Cindy. He had that same discussion in the hospital room,
Mm-hmm.
and she said, don't worry, Gwen is going to be gone.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be her. But at that time, I started thinking, anybody who knows anything about the slightest bit of any kind of illness, any kind, you
Any
don't
kind.
go to the hospital one night and then say, I'm cured, the
Right.
next day that's over.
Yeah, it takes time.
So I said, how can she say that?
Takes therapy.
That's going to take a lot of work.
Yeah.
And
It will.
then they cut to the window.
I like how she was put in the hospital to care for her. So that it gives people hope that are in this situation. So they put her in there to get tested. And it was then that it was said that, with proper treatment, she could be able to come out of that second personality.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure. Treatment, therapy, whatever you call it. Yeah. It's a
Yes.
continual
But
thing.
it brought that up in the show.
But they wanted us to know at the very, very end of the show that it wasn't right now because there she was.
There she was. And they wanted to pull that out to the very end.
Yes.
Because I read that there were different scripts where they were going to show it earlier, but they did not want to do that. They wanted to wait till the very end and show this, like, oh, Gwen is still there.
Gwen's not quite done yet. So that was kind of cool the way she was standing at the window smoking that cigarette, looking all Gwen-like.
You knew it was Gwen,
Yeah.
troublemaker.
And it went off.
Hey, did they ever release the girls in the funhouse? I guess Joe untied them, didn't he?
Joe or Frank.
Yeah.
one of the
How could
two.
one woman do that?
You're right, Dame. That was
I don't
my
know.
thing throughout the whole show because, like you said, we had the disadvantage of knowing the ending. So I'm like, Valerie Bertinelli is all of 5 feet tall. And
Yeah.
back then,
Yeah.
she was very small and
Very small.
skinny. How is she taking over these women?
Yeah. Well, she has a gun.
See, there's a lot of weird stuff in it, but it's Hollywood.
Yeah, she did have the gun. That'll make you go with somebody
Oh.
who got a gun.
Yeah, I was surprised, even though she had the gun, Shaun didn't do one of those karate kicks. Get it?
Yeah. That was a good episode, and
It was good.
Valerie Bertinelli, I was mistaken. I was having a little talk with Cindy about it, and I thought it was before her One Day at a Time TV series. She was already on
Yeah,
One Day
I
at
already
a
knew
Time.
who she was because
Well,
of
the
that.
Hardy Boys and together they shaped how TV talked to teens in that era. So they kind of put it together.
Yeah, and you notice they pulled somebody who was on a show that focused teenagers.
Right.
So there was Valerie Bertinelli, America's sweetheart. She was the good girl on One Day at a Time. Everybody thought she was the good girl.
So you didn't think she did this?
Exactly. You
No.
never would. And like you said, Sybil had been out before this, but nobody was thinking anything about
No.
multiple personalities.
Or a girl did it or
girl,
anything.
a sweet
Look
little,
at all the suspects were guys.
all of them.
So back then it was typecast that
Yes.
people who caused problems like this were men.
That's what, and you notice
And not
they show
women.
everyone, and they made sure to show every kind of guy. A guy that can
Yes.
do martial arts, a guy that's real smart in the computer, or a scary guy that could be
Yeah.
mad because he was
You-
in a car accident.
You never know. And it was none of them.
It seemed like Scooby-Doo to me, so it wasn't scary, but different things can affect people differently. And I'm glad I didn't watch it when I was a kid.
Yeah, they wanted to make it dark though, and it showed the Hardy Boys as being vulnerable in this episode. And they wanted to show that too.
Yes.
And it showed their other hero side with that age group.
I remember watching that episode and thinking that was really a good, they weren't as teeny bopper as
Right.
they had been.
They wanted to be more mature.
They were more mature. They weren't running around talking about Frank got the girl, Joe got the girl. Now let's see Joe sing on stage. It was
Right.
a really good,
It was a good storyline.
yeah.
They had some depth to it.
Actually, that season was really getting better with the stories because
Oh, yeah.
wasn't it season 2 that was, no, season 3 was Last Kiss of Summer.
Oh, the one we talked about before?
Yeah,
Yes.
so they were really growing those characters up by the end of season 2 and the beginning of season 3.
Yes, and it showed Shaun more than Parker. I think in the beginning it showed Parker more than Shaun. Like Shaun would follow him around, but now I see Shaun more out in the front
Yes.
with
And he became a better actor
Dealing?
each time.
yeah, and he loved that, and it just showed his character. Yeah, like you said, maturing and growing up.
Yeah.
So each time they gave Frank or Joe a little bit more in the episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was fun to watch.
It was.
So they still made the show, but Valerie, it was neat that she was in it. And it's neat that she just recently got to see Shaun at his show. And now she has a book out called Getting Naked. it's about childhood
Okay.
emotional patterns, and so it goes with this. And it says, accepting aging, stop people pleasing, and dealing with the age that we are in now.
So it's like a woman's kind of like own yourself kind of help
Yeah.
book. Like,
And stop people pleasing. You're old enough now. Yeah, you're old enough now. You don't have to do that.
Life lessons.
Say it like it is.
so that's, tell me again the name of her book, Getting Naked?
Yes.
That is,
And, girls, I thought this was interesting too. I thought it was neat that she had signed ones that you could get for like $29. But now on Amazon, I checked it out this morning and you can get her book for $20, but I don't see any that are left that are signed. So I went to eBay, and there on eBay, it's twice as much.
of course.
But I was so glad that Valerie and Shaun were able to reunite at one of his shows.
Yeah, that's so
Yes.
cool that she went to one. And after all these years of not even talking or seeing each other, they were able to connect. That was very
So not
nice.
only is he connecting back with his fans, he's connecting back to previous co-stars and people he knew.
Yes.
People he was
Full circle.
Full circle, yeah. People that started in the shows he did.
Yeah, this tour is definitely bringing everybody out and back together again, which is great.
It is. I think it's good for everybody. You know, Shaun loves connecting again, and all those stories come out, which we all enjoy too.
Yeah.
So-
And it shows that other side of Shaun, you know, especially that he's doing this for us and that he feels good about it, that he's doing this for us. And it's bringing you and I and, you know, our other friends together.
all of us together in one big shared community, like he says.
Yeah.
And he loves watching that part.
Yeah, he
Well,
does.
I love doing our deep dives into this episode. So what do you guys think? We do one more in the future sometime?
Yeah, and if anybody out there has an idea of which one we should review, let us know.
Yeah, which one was your favorite?
We have all 3 seasons and we could watch all 3. I mean, there are plenty to review.
We can, yes. That would be fun.
They could send us an email at ShaunSquadSociety@gmail.com, or they could leave us a message in Buzzsprout, or they could follow us on Facebook and Instagram and put something in comments. Just let us know which one you like to hear us talk about.
Because we don't mind talking about these at all. And it's kind of fun because, like you said, back in the day, we were just watching Shaun.
Yeah.
We didn't really pay attention to the story. But it is fun to go back now and see what they really were doing with the episode.
And especially since you haven't seen the episode for how many years?
Yes, and I don't remember some things. You know, even this Valerie Bertinelli episode, I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I forgot, to be honest, I have forgotten about all of it except the ending. That ending is what stayed in my head.
No, I forgot the ending. So that was good for me to watch it again.
Hey, Cindy, you had, not that it's a real big fun fact, but you had a fun fact about the hospital that she was in.
Oh, yeah, the hospital that they filmed it at.
It was the same set for the hospital, Rampart Emergency.
Yes.
Rampart General, whatever it was called.
It was called Emergency, and it was, and they filmed that scene at that hospital they used in that show.
Emergency.
In addition to the skull found in the funhouse.
Oh, tell about that.
That's not fun.
Yeah, unexpectedly, they found a human skull in the amusement park funhouse while they were filming there, totally unrelated. And I don't know the whole story behind it, but all I know is they found it.
Oh, boy, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah, definitely creepy. Need Joe and Frank on that one for sure.
At least it wasn't Joe.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, okay.
So it was fun.
It
I
was
love
great.
doing this. This is great.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you from the bottom of our Teen Dream hearts. Keep on crushing.
Always believe in magic.
And have a peaceful, Shauntastic week. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Thread, and subscribe to our new YouTube page.
Make sure to keep in touch with us at our email, ShaunSquadSociety@gmail.com.
The Shaun Squad Society podcast, including past, present, and future versions, and its contents are owned and controlled by the Shaun Squad Society. The podcast is written, produced, and recorded at the Borden Studios, and the views and opinions are solely those of the Shaun Squad Society podcast. We may think we are always right, but we may get things wrong from time to time, so we assume no responsibility for errors of submission of content.